This is Lewis, a weak, helpless orphan whose life was destroyed after his father was falsely accused and burned alive in front of everyone. But things did not stop there because the same people turned against Lewis too, even though he had done nothing wrong. In the end, he was thrown into the most dangerous prison in the world, a place where no one is supposed to come back alive. But somehow, Lewis survived that hell, and after many years, he finally escaped. Now, in the middle of a dark forest, the entire system is hunting him down and calling him a dangerous criminal who escaped the world's most secure prison. But Lewis cannot stop, because stopping means death. Anyone who blocks his path gets taken down, no matter how strong they are. Soon, he reaches a dead end with enemies behind him, and suddenly falls into deep water. Even there, an attacker follows him, but Lewis fights back with pure survival instinct and kills him just to stay alive. And sometime later, two mysterious men arrive and find their young master already dead, shocked and confused. But before they can react properly, they hear movement deeper inside. And when they go to check, they find Lewis again. And the moment they attack him, a strange sealed energy around his body blocks everything, shocking them instantly because this is not normal human power. And then they notice something even more strange. His face looks almost identical to their young master, except for one difference in appearance. And now everything becomes dangerous but also interesting, because one of them suddenly says they can help him survive, but only if he agrees to help them in return. And with no choice left in this dying world, Lewis accepts and takes a new identity as Bai, because refusing would mean immediate death from both sides. And they tell him he must enter Spirit Awakening Academy, a place where noble families send their children to awaken powers and become stronger. But his real identity must never be exposed, and everything he is taught must be remembered carefully. And after that, both of them separate at the academy gate, leaving Lewis alone in a place full of monsters disguised as students. And the moment he enters, he feels it immediately. Powerful pressure everywhere. People who can sense dark aura around him, students whispering that a useless nobody like him does not belong here. But before he can even settle, the first trial begins, and suddenly, the academy turns into a nightmare as ghosts and spirits appear out of nowhere and start killing students brutally, turning the entrance test into a massacre. And while panic spreads everywhere, some students survive by crushing the spirits with raw power, and Lewis also fights through them step by step, not because he is strong, but because he refuses to die. And in the shadows, an old observer quietly watches him, sensing something unusual about him, something dangerous and unknown. And soon after, a boy approaches Lewis acting friendly, saying he will guide him because Lewis cleared the first stage, but later he leads him away and suddenly reveals his true nature, laughing as he says Lewis has fallen into his trap and in the second stage, someone must be sacrificed. But the truth is even darker because he was never who he claimed to be, and before Lewis can react, poison spreads through his body, freezing him in place, and the attacker smirks, saying he already knew Lewis had killing intent from the very beginning. So he set everything up from their first meeting. But Lewis turns the situation using timing and instinct and escapes while the enemy collapses. And back at the academy, the remaining students are taken to an energy circuit test where they must release their full power to determine their rank. And during this process, one girl activates a rare 6-level leaf circuit that shocks everyone, making clan leaders argue over recruiting her. But their attention suddenly shifts to Lewis, who stands quietly. And even though they say his talent looks weak, they also warn that his energy control is unstable and he could explode if he loses control. But in that moment, something unimaginable happens as Lewis activates a 12-level circuit, a level no one has ever seen before, shaking the entire academy as elites realize he is something beyond normal ranking. And immediately, leaders decide to recruit him, while only a few students pass and are assigned groups. And Lewis is among them, even though his reading shows only a 3rd-level spirit vein. Something about him clearly does not match what they are seeing. And then a senior takes them through teleportation to meet the master, where everyone collapses from dizziness except Lewis. And an old master looks at him carefully and says every student before him always fell due to weakness, but he remained standing. And he hands Lewis books to train his abilities. But Lewis questions why so many books exist if they are not part of the normal syllabus. And the master explains that only high-level cultivators can learn multiple advanced skills together, making Lewis realize how far he still is from real strength. And he quietly says his fate is unlucky, because with only 3rd-level power, he can never defeat top-tier fighters. And the old master looks at him in shock and asks if he truly only has 3rd-level strength, as the situation becomes even more mysterious and dangerous, leaving his true potential still completely unknown. The old man gets even more curious and tells Lewis to let him check it properly. But Lewis feels something is not right about his intention, so he only uses 1/3 of his power. And the moment it starts glowing, the old man is completely shocked because Louis's power is far higher than his actual level. Because of this, the old man secretly gives him some hidden books from the academy so he can learn dangerous dangerous skills, but he also warns him to keep these books hidden from everyone because they are illegal, and if anyone finds out, his job will be in danger. On the other side, some people have already started doubting Louis' identity because the second prince of the Bai family was known as a completely useless person, and according to them, he should have died already, so they cannot understand how he is still alive. Louis starts training by reading those books, and after some time, a test is arranged to check everyone's training, where juniors have to fight against seniors. Louis's senior tells them that their branch is the weakest among all, so they should try to win as many matches as possible and earn rewards. The master explains the rules of the match and also shows them the reward. The first match is between that spy, Yosin Jing, and Louis's team. Both sides immediately step forward to fight. Yosin Jing throws the fat guy away and moves toward the girl, but Louis saves her using wind magic. Seeing his speed, the sect leader asks who that boy is, and someone replies that his name is Bai, but he is only 3rd level. Yosin Jing now becomes even more interested in Louis and wants to know what else he is hiding. Louis shocks him again with his speed, and after seeing the way Louis fights, his teammates also start supporting him. But the fat guy gets trapped in the enemy's move, and even the girl starts feeling that Louis' technique looks strangely familiar, which makes her suspicious too. Louis then hits Yosin Jing in the stomach and pushes him away. The spy cannot accept his defeat and wants a rematch, but the leader stops him and says that even after being stronger than Louis, he still lost, so with what face does he want to fight again? Now the second match begins between one member of Yosin Jing's team and Louis' 3-member team. But after seeing the opponent's power, the other two get scared and back away. Louis says he wants to fight him alone. His opponent is too overconfident and says that if Louis is fighting alone, then he will use only one finger against him. Seeing his technique, some people feel it is too strong and wonder if they should stop the match, but others say not to worry because Feng has full control over himself. Louis proves everyone wrong by cutting through Feng's strongest technique and reaching close to him. Then he asks why Feng is now using his other hand too. Feng enters his full form and Louis also wants to fight him with his full power. But then he remembers his master's warning that his powers are too different and he should not release them in front of everyone. At the same time, one attack is about to pierce Louis' heart, but Louis shifts his heart slightly to the side and survives, then purposely loses the match so no one will suspect him. But this only increases the suspicion, because that technique is only used on Evil Island. When the teacher checks Louis's injury, she sees that he is not seriously hurt and has only received small wounds. So she gives him his reward and says this seal will be very useful for him, but he must use it carefully because it is very valuable. Louis then looks to the side and sees someone summoning a skeleton monster to fight, and the power of that skeleton creates chaos around the area. The teacher says everything ends here and tells everyone to go back and continue their training. But Louis wants to test the seed he received, so he gives his remaining spirit stones and goes to fight that monster. The skeleton also uses all its strength and moves toward Louis. Louis uses his seed, but he is pushed back. The skeleton quickly reaches near him and starts growing bigger. At that moment, Louis uses his tiger claw technique and destroys it in one strike, then thinks that this weapon is very strong, but he still needs more training to use it properly. Later, while Louis is bathing, a girl suddenly comes near him and claims that she is his future wife, asking if he has forgotten that their families decided this before they were even born. Louis gets nervous and says he remembers, but right now he has to go for training. Mu asks Louis about his technique, and after learning about it, she says that to practice it properly, he will need lean souls. She then takes him to a market for shopping and says this way they can also get to know each other better. In the market, Louis notices a shopkeeper selling monster meat. The shopkeeper explains that eating it can increase strength, and the stronger the monster is, the greater the benefit. After hearing this, Louis uses all the stones he has to buy lean souls. Before they separate, Mu tells him that these are good for practice, but if he wants higher quality lean souls, he can come with her because after 3 days, her group is going to collect them. Louis agrees to go there and leaves for his training for now. But just then, the spy comes to Mu and asks if she noticed anything strange about Bai. Mu says she has never met him before, and this was their first meeting. And anyway, she heard that Yosin Jing lost to him. After hearing his own insult, Yosin Jing gets angry and leaves, saying that he will find out the truth about Bai himself after 3 days. 3 days later, Mu arrives at the meeting location with her team members, and Yosin Jing is also there with them. A team member explains the mission to everyone, saying that in these huge mountains they will find Suzy fruits, which contain a high amount of lean souls, but getting them will not be easy because dangerous beasts are spread everywhere. So the plan is that 2 people will distract the beasts, and everyone else must reach the location within half an hour. According to the plan, those 2 distract the beasts, and thousands of butterflies start chasing them. Meanwhile, Louis and the others begin collecting fruits. While Louis is collecting the fruits, butterflies start coming out from the rocks. He burns them all to ashes with a fire blast, but at the same time, he falls into another trap, and the person behind it is Yosin Jing. Louis wants wonders why he could not feel his presence. Seeing Lewis struggling, Yosun Jing tells him not to waste his strength because this magical rope has already sealed all his spiritual energy. Lewis asks what he wants from him, and Yosun Jing says he does not want much, only answers to a few questions, starting with what connection Lewis has with Evil Island. Lewis says he knows nothing about Evil Island, but Yosun Jing does not believe him and asks how he learned their technique if he has no connection with that place. Lewis calmly lies and says he found a book near a dead man by the river and learned it from there. Yosun Jing instantly understands that Lewis is just feeding him a fake story, but before he can force more answers out of him, the ground suddenly shakes and a huge beast appears from underground. Its roar shakes the nearby mountains, and both of them are shocked after feeling the presence of such a dangerous monster. Yosun Jing immediately panics, wondering what this thing is doing here, and without wasting a second, he throws Lewis toward the beast and runs away, laughing that Louis' story will end here. Louis attacks the beast with his power, but it has no effect at all. The beast grabs him and starts smashing him around like a toy, because this giant monster is insanely strong and clearly not something Lewis can escape from easily. Lewis realizes that running away is almost impossible now, so he has no choice but to face it. He pulls out his thunder swords and starts fighting back, but the beast throws him into the air. Lewis somehow manages to cut one of its wings, but instead of weakening it, this only makes the beast even angrier, and Lewis slowly starts losing strength. Just then, his teacher suddenly appears and saves him using a dangerous sword technique with several blades. The beast tries to attack Lewis again, but the teacher protects him with another thunder attack. The beast gets scared and tries to run away. Lewis looks up at the sky, but all he can see is lightning repeatedly striking only that beast. Suddenly, the monster is about to eat Lewis, but the teacher cuts its jaw and throws Lewis far away to a safe place. But even after that, the beast follows him by smelling his blood. When the teacher blocks its attack, the beast starts attacking her too, and one of its strikes breaks her barrier. Frustrated, the teacher decides that this beast must be finished right here, because after cultivating, it has become far too strong. Lewis is shocked after seeing her power and realizes this is what a high-level cultivator truly looks like. The teacher then looks at Lewis and says she has seen him before because he is a new student, and since he survived, she wants to give him a reward. She tells him to collect the beast's meat, then gives him advice, saying he is strong, but he still has many weaknesses. Lewis asks how he can improve, but she refuses to explain and says he should ask the person who taught him all this. On the other side, when everyone asks about Bai, that lying Yosun Jing says he saw a dangerous beast going toward Bai from a distance and does not know what happened to him. Meanwhile, Lewis is collecting the beast's meat and thinking how this trash-looking thing can be a reward, but since the teacher said it is useful, there must be something special about it. Then Lewis finds the beast's core, which is releasing a strange dark aura, and he guesses the teacher probably did not notice it. Suddenly, that core enters his body. After this, the teacher tells her seniors that the beast had become extremely dangerous, and because of cultivation, its power had reached another level. She warns that if its core falls into the wrong hands, it can cause a huge disaster. On the other side, Lewis is troubled and keeps thinking about why he cannot understand his own weaknesses. He knows he must become strong no matter what, because he still has to take revenge. When he reaches his teammates, they become happy after seeing that he is alive. They ask how he survived the beast, and Lewis takes out the Suzy fruits and says a teacher helped him, saved his life, and gave him these things too. After everyone leaves, Yosun Jing tells Mu to stay away from Lewis because he is definitely hiding something from everyone. Mu gets annoyed and tells him to mind his own business instead of following Lewis everywhere. Later, Mu tells Lewis that she already knows he is not Bai. She says she figured out his truth the first time she saw him, because he is not like that ruined, useless man at all, and in fact, he is much better than him. She promises she will not reveal his secret because he must have his own reason, but she wants to know one thing that only the Bai family has passed down for generations. Louis says he cannot tell her because he is not even Bai. Mu says it is fine, maybe not now, but someday he will definitely find out, and since he is still connected to that family now, he can tell her when he learns it. After this, Lewis returns to his room and starts cultivating. Then he remembers what the shopkeeper said, that eating monster meat can increase strength. So Lewis cooks the beast meat and takes a small bite. The moment he eats it, he feels a strange sensation he has never felt before, and just one small bite gives him strength equal to several months of training. He is about to take another bite, but then he stops himself and thinks he should not become greedy right now. For now, he must focus only on fixing his weaknesses. After that, Lewis takes the beast's thorn and goes toward the place with the books, but he finds a barrier blocking the way. He uses the thorn to break the barrier, and after moving forward, he discovers another secret path. He enters the path, breaks through a wall, and keeps going deeper. At the same time, the old man senses something strange, but he does not stop talking because the Grand Master master is with him, and he tells himself it must just be his imagination since no one can easily enter that cave. But Lewis is already going deeper inside the cave. Soon, he finds a skeleton guard that cannot see but can sense presence. Louis controls both his breathing and aura, then quietly sneaks inside. Ahead, he finds 2 more guards protecting a gate. Lewis uses the thorn again, breaks through it, and enters. Inside, he finds a mysterious book filled with many secrets. After reading it, he learns that it is about black summoning magic, a power used for war and domination. This makes one thing clear. This organization is preparing something extremely dangerous so they can rule over the world. And the strangest part is that they are doing evil experiments on students. Seeing this, Lewis becomes furious and runs from there, realizing these people have been playing with their lives by teaching them the wrong things. Suddenly, the skeleton senses Louis' presence and rushes toward the cave. Lewis dodges its attack and thinks he needs to escape quickly because the teachers may arrive any moment, but the guards are not letting him leave. So Lewis traps one of them with a rope, uses his power to slam both skeletons into each other, and runs outside. But on the way, the dark aura inside Lewis suddenly goes out of control, while the skeletons continue chasing him from behind. The skeleton attacks Lewis from behind, and in that same moment, a bright light flashes around him, sending Lewis into a strange, unknown place. He cannot understand what this place is or why that seed has brought him here. Lewis tries again and again to get out, but nothing works, and many hours pass just like that. Then he realizes something strange. He is not feeling hungry, thirsty, or weak at all. So instead of wasting more time, Lewis starts training right there, practicing different elements one by one while also counting the time. Months pass inside that space, and now Lewis can create huge explosions. Water magic, air magic, and fire magic have become easy for him, almost like child's play. After a full 6 months, Lewis suddenly returns to the exact same place at the exact same moment and realizes something shocking. All the training he did inside that space did not even take 1 second in the real world, but he quickly tells himself that this is not the time to waste because he still has to keep moving. Meanwhile, when the old man comes to that place, he finds his skeleton guards broken apart and the whole area destroyed. He wonders who could have done all this, and if that person reveals their secret to anyone, they will all be in danger. The next day, Lewis goes to his teacher to learn more training, but the teacher throws him out without even listening properly. There, Lewis meets the same beautiful girl whose magic almost traps him again and again, but Lewis somehow keeps avoiding it. The girl apologizes and says she still cannot control her powers properly. Lewis tells her that he came to the teacher to learn how to control his evil energy, but the teacher pushed him out. Just then, the teacher replies that no evil spirit is possessing him, and it is only his own misunderstanding, though she admits she does not understand why his strength has increased so much compared to before, and then she tells him to leave. After getting insulted, Lewis walks away, while the girl thinks about why her magic does not work on him. Back in his room, Lewis thinks that the dark energy is not harming him at all. Instead, it helped him train, but he still needs more practice to control these powers even better. Then he feels happy and says that as long as he has this medicine, he does not need to worry too much about his strength. After this, Lewis goes outside to buy some important things, but on the way, 3 troublemakers stop him for no reason. Lewis politely greets them and tries to move ahead, but they attack him from behind. Lewis asks what they want from him, and they say they were sent on a fishing mission but are returning empty-handed, so he should hand over all his things. The 3 of them attack Louis together. Lewis thinks their rank is higher than his, but in front of him, they are still not enough. The fat one tries to avenge his friend, but Lewis blocks his attack and sends him flying beside that same friend. The third one uses an ice attack, but Lewis dodges it, makes it blast back, and traps him in a net. Lewis first burns the net with fire, and when the guy tries to run away in fear, Lewis catches him and beats his head hard. After finishing his shopping and returning, Lewis thinks he only got 50 spirit stones from them, and he still needs more. On the way, Mu tells him that a very dangerous man from the Justice faction has been investigating him and has already reached the Bai family. She asks if he left any evidence in Yosin Jing's hands. Lewis says he did not leave any proof, then thanks her for warning him and returns home to prepare himself, so if he ever meets those people, he will not be caught off guard. Several days pass like this, and Louis' strength grows far beyond before. Everyone in the surrounding area can feel the presence of his power. The old man wonders how Louis learned so fast. At the same time, the teachers are tense because their students have to face the Juhi clan in a 3-student match. One teacher says they cannot easily win because the other side's students have 1 more year of experience than theirs. Another says they must choose 3 good students. They mention given that Wang is smart and strong, but he cannot defeat everyone alone. Then the third teacher suggests Bai because he is extremely fast. At that moment, Bai is coming toward them when he stops a huge meteor flying toward him, and behind it is Yosin Jing. Yosin Jing says the chief is calling him. Lewis asks what kind of way this is to call someone. Yosin Jing then says, "Will you come with me, Bai? Or should I call you Lewis?" This means he has already discovered Lewis's real identity. Lewis acts confused and says he does not understand what he means. Yosin Jing tells him not to pretend innocent because he is the son of that criminal who escaped from prison. Lewis says he has no idea what nonsense he is talking about, but if Yosin Jing attacks him, he will not step back this time. Seeing Louis's power and speed, Yosin Jing realizes that Lewis has become much stronger, and he thinks he needs to stop him quickly.